What's going on, guys? It's Joseph back again, and in this course I'll teach you all the things you need to learn before getting started with Flask. We'll cover routing, we'll cover more complex topics like registering users, logging in users, and more on the current topic. So this is a type of an e-commerce website, and we are not going to do like all the functionalities you need for a e-commerce website. I'm just going to show you what you need to get started building such application with Flask. Okay, we are not using something like React, we are just using Flask, which you can see how things work in a server environment. Okay, so yeah, so I'll take you through this demo where we can register users and log in users. So let me try Sarasmika or Jendo. Let's try register Jendo. Have the password as 1 2 3 4 5 6, the same here. Okay, that is a password for Jendo. Then Jendo, oops, not Jendo. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Log in this user. We are redirected back to the home page. You see we are getting hi Jendo. With this is information stored inside the session, and we are displaying the username. Okay, you see we can also log out, and we can also add more products. So let's add a product, another product 7, specify the price 55. I don't want to think so hard about the description. We can just have product 7, then I'll add an image, then add product. You see I'm getting the product here. So these are some of the things that we are going to work on. Okay, yeah, so before we even start writing the code, guys, I will kindly ask you that you subscribe to my channel, because I'll be posting more of these videos, and for that I need a bit of inspiration when it comes to the viewers. Okay, and I need you guys to back me up in this journey, because I know that one day we'll be doing more and more of these courses, and you guys will be learning a lot on this topic. So if you like my content, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Bye. Okay, so now that we have understood at least what we are going to build, let's start by creating our environment. So we need Flask in place, and for me I have VS Code. I don't know for you, but choose the editor that you want, but I prefer that you use VS Code, because it gives you a good development experience. Okay, so I recommend VS Code, and also you need to have Python installed in your machine. So download the latest version of Python, and I think that is all you need to get started: an editor and Python. Okay, for the editor I said I recommend VS Code. So let's get started by creating a virtual environment where we'll store all our dependencies, and this command that I'm going to show you will be different depending on the machine you are using. For me, I'm using Linux, so the command to create a virtual environment will be different for Windows users, but I'll show you how you can do it for Windows. But let's start with Linux. So for this one, this is how you create a virtual environment. So you can try Python -m, then venv. This is all you need to create that virtual environment folder, which will be storing our dependencies. This command is the same for Windows users and also for Linux users. So you can just, if you're on Windows, you can just have this command. It will still work on your machine. Then this is where things get a little bit different when it comes to activating your virtual environment. So for me, I use source, then venv, then bin, then activate. Okay, so now you see my environment has been activated. For Windows users, this is what you need to do. Type in venv, make sure you are in the root folder, venv / scripts / activate. And all this information you can get from the Flask documentation. You don't need to struggle. Let me show you. Let me see where I can find that. Wow. The page is very, very slow. Oh, yeah. Let's open this. Wow. Let's just give it some time. Yeah. I don't think that we should wait for this to continue loading. Yeah, but I'm sure that is the command you use for Windows, venv / scripts / activate. If it doesn't work for you, you can always search for the commands. So see you guys in the next one. Bye. Okay, so now that we have seen how we can create our virtual environments and activating the virtual environments, let's see now how we can install dependencies inside the virtual env. This will contain everything we need for this application to work. So I'll paste that command there. So we use pip install to install dependencies. Okay, and then the first thing that we need is Flask. We are going to install Flask-SQLAlchemy. This is like a layer that sits on top of the SQL database, and it allows us to do some operations like creating, deleting, updating. Okay, then this Flask login will allow us to manage sessions in our application. Flask WTF, we are going to use it together with forms, and you'll see how it works. And then the Python.env package will allow us to store environment variables which we don't need to push to GitHub. Okay, this is where we are going to store all our security keys, yeah, and such. So make sure you type in this command, make sure you're correct, especially when it comes to this spelling SQLAlchemy. Okay, so make sure you spell this correctly. Yeah, let's install the packages. Okay, so I'll create an entry file, call it app.py. This is all we need to get started with Flask. Assuming we have Flask already, import Flask. Oh, we don't use const. App Flask _ name _ make sure this is name, and then we'll create a route which we can access in our browsers. Def, create a function. For this one, I'll just return a string. As always, hello world, if _ name equals to. This will allow us to run this file as a script. Don't need to worry so much about it. Then we use app.run. Okay, so let's test this out. Python 3 app.py. Okay, this port is used. Let me close my other port. Clear the terminal, Python 3 app.py again, and when we start, we see hello world. Okay, so that means we have a Flask server in place and we are ready to get started building the project. But before that, whenever we make a change into this file, we need to come here and reload the page again. So we don't have to do that every time. The only focus should be in the code, not on starting the server every time we make a change. Restarting the server every time we make a change. So let me just restart it for now. And to fix that, we can do debug equals to true. That is all you need. So whenever we make a change into this file, it is detected automatically. Okay. Yeah. We should see the server at least reloading, but it's not reloading. But I'm sure it should work. Let me just say name there. So we are receiving this variable called name, passing it inside the function, and then we'll print this string now. So that is how you can pass variables into your URL. This was supposed to work, but it didn't. Okay, let's restart the server again. Oh, debugger is active. Yeah, that is what we should have. So let me have some spaces here. You see, the server is automatically reloading every time we are changing this file. So that is good. We don't need to keep reloading the page. So we see hello Joseph. So that is all we need to get started with Flask. Now in the next one, we'll see how now we can start building our project. So see you in the next one. Happy coding. Okay, so now we can go ahead and see what we need while working with Flask. We need a way to render our HTML files to the browser. So for that, we need to render templates. Okay, so we can use this render template. Okay, then instead of just returning a formatted string, what we'll do this time, we'll render a template, and this will be a HTML page. So we'll call it index.html. Okay, that is how we can render our template. Then whenever we use render template, Flask goes ahead and looks to a folder called render template. Not render template, it's template, sorry. Then we pass the file index.html. Make sure you start your server, Python 3 app.py. Then you can generate HTML5. We can generate our skeleton for HTML. Then this time we'll be saying hello to the name. And this name is a variable which is passed here. Okay, so we'll say name will be equal to the name which we are receiving here as a variable to from the URL. Okay, so now whenever we go to this page, we'll see a h1 hello Joseph, passing Sarah there. You see, we are getting this from the URL. We can do the same when, let's say, you are querying for a post, a single post with a given ID. So you can say app.route / let's say post, it's an int, then post underscore id. So here we'll create a function show post, show underscore post, then we'll receive post underscore id from the URL. Then we'll say for this one we'll return a formatted string, post id equals to post underscore id. Okay. Then if we open our browser and do /post/1, we shall see post id is equals to 1. So that is some of the things that you can do with the Flask. Okay, we see how we can access URL params with Flask, which is very easy. Okay, you just receive them here, and also you can pass the type which you're receiving, pass it inside the function, then we receive it and print it to the screen. Okay, so that is how we can render templates, and that is how we can get information from the URL. The next thing, guys, I want to show you is how you can work with static files, CSS, working with CSS together with HTML. Normally we use this link tag, and here in the href we specify the name of the file, and we know HTML is going to look up into that file. But with Flask we use this URL for, let me show you. We say URL for underscore for static, then let me confirm this. Static files, yeah, this is what you do. Static, then you pass in the file name. Okay, there. So we can replace my code. Actually, I'll not replace it. I'll do file name is equals to the file name, assuming we had styles.css here. Okay, we can just pass it in here. style.css, like so. Let's confirm this is working. Let me have a background color just to test this out. Green. You see, we are getting hello post, and the color is green, so that means it is working. That is how you load your CSS into HTML in Flask. So, but we'll not be writing CSS. Okay, I'll teach you Tailwind. So we are going to work with Tailwind in this course. So yeah, so in the next video I'll show you how we can install Tailwind in our application. So see you in the next one. Happy coding. Okay guys, so let's work on the Tailwind installation. So for this one we need to install Tailwind CSS. Tailwind, get started, and we'll switch to Tailwind CLI there, and we are going to copy this command like so. Then let's stop our server. So the first thing that we'll do in this one is to initialize this project as a Node.js project so that we can use npm. So for that one we do npm init-y. That will initialize this project as a Node.js project. Clear, then we can run that command, which will be using npm. Okay, so that is the first step. let's take a look at the second step. We need this inside our base CSS file. Okay, so we don't have the base CSS file, but let me replace this with the name input.css, and then we'll remove this here, and also I'll create another file called output, which will build my CSS file with all my classes that I've used with Tailwind CSS. Okay, so that is the second step. Let's switch to the third. We copy this command npx tailwind CLI. This will constantly watch our file and build our output.css file. Okay, so we don't have a src folder, we have a static folder for our CSS. Static. And we can replace src with static. Sorry for the noise. And install. Good. Now we see we have a few lines of code here. No need to worry about that. Let me switch to another terminal, and what I'll do in here is this will contain my Python script app.py. Then inside index, what we need to do is change this to be output.css. Output.css. Good. So now let me try and see if Tailwind is working. So we can say class text-center text-center. So that should automatically position my h1 to the center of the page. Let me see. You see it's working. So yeah, so that is how you install Tailwind in your Flask project. So see you in the next one. Bye. Okay, so far so good. Let me show you how we can pass how we can work with something called Jinja syntax in our HTML files. You see, this one is not HTML, but this is a special type of syntax which allows us to pass our variables from Python and do also conditional checking. You see? Yeah. So yeah, let's see how we can work with such syntax in our HTML files. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So let's say I want to conditionally check if the name exists. If the name exists, then that is when I'm going to display the name. So for that one, we open this double curly brace, then we pass the percentage. Also, I pass another. Then here we say if name exists, then here we must end the block of the if. So if the name exists, that's when I want to display this. Okay, so yeah, so that is how we can work with Jinja syntax. Index.html, so it should be slash. Slash name. Yeah, Joseph. Yeah, you see, if the name, what about if the name does not exist? So let me change this URL and have it /page /name or /hello /name. So /hello. If the name does not exist, then we are not going to display the request URL. Actually, working with this is a bit complicated. let me show you another way that we can see how this really works. Slash hello, or I can still do this, and then I'll say age will be equal to none. Okay, then we pass the age as the variable here. Then here we say if. Let's build another if. If age is if age, we know age is set to none, so we should not see this. Hello name, you are age years old. Okay, let's restart our server. Slash hello slash Joseph. Hello Joseph, but we don't see the age because it does not exist. Okay, let's take a look at this example Flask has given here. We are receiving the person, the name. If the person exists, then we are going to show this, otherwise we are going to show this. Okay, so let's try with the example. Let's set the age to be 22. Restart the server. If I reload the page, you see, hello Joseph, you are 22 years old. Okay, and we have seen how also we can introduce the else. Let me show you. Come in here, else, we're just going to say hello Joseph, like that. So now if we reload the page, we have the age, so we should set this to none again. Like so, you see? Yeah. So that is how you can use Ginger syntax with Flask. So now it's about time that we switch gears and I show you more complex, more advanced topics on Flask. So we are going to see how we can model our database by using Flask-SQLAlchemy. So that is the first thing that we are going to import from Flask-SQLAlchemy. So we do from Flask-SQLAlchemy import SQLAlchemy. Then we need to bind it to the database URI. So we can say app.config, and then we're going to type this SQLAlchemy underscore database underscore URI. So this will set it to the URI will be SQLite. We'll be using SQLite in this one for simplicity. Okay. So yeah, I have my database as shop.db, and also I'm going to do another configuration, and I'll set SQLAlchemy underscore track. This is going to suppress warning coming from Flask-SQLAlchemy, so you can just do it. It's not that important. We'll set it to false. Okay. Then the next step is to build now our models. So for that, we'll do first. Let's do SQLAlchemy start with the class for the product, and we're going to do db.model. Then we are going to build these fields for this table called the product column. This is going to be an integer, and then we are going to set it as a primary key, primary underscore key. So if you have worked with SQL database, this should make sense to you, whatever that we are doing, setting the primary key. Okay, yeah, so that should make sense. db.column, we are going to set it to be string, maximum of 20 characters long. We are going to have it to be unique, to be true. This can never be null, so we'll say nullable false. Then we are going to store the password, and when storing password you must hash the password. Okay, so here we'll be storing the hashed version of the password. Nullable equals to false, and is admin db.column db, it's a boolean field, boolean default. Actually, I don't think that we need this one. We don't, this should be user, sorry. Default, we just have this to be false. Okay, so that is all we need for the user. Let's go ahead and create now for the product. db model id db. Don't have to type this out and just copy. Name db.column db.string. I'll have the product to be maximum of 30 characters long, and I'll say nullable is false. Set nullable. This can never be null. Okay, then we need the price, db.column db.text dot float, db.float, set nullable as always to be false. We need the description, db.column db.text. Nullable, this can be null. Have it to be true. Also, we are going to store the image file name, so we'll not be storing like the entire image binary. We'll just be storing the image file. So we can say db.column db.string 20 nullable, set to false. Each and every image should have an image. Each and every product should have an image, so nullable is false. Then default will be set to default.jpg. Okay, so we'll have a magic method called representation. I don't know if it's this stands for representation. So whenever we request for a product, this is how it will print. Will return product, and here we'll be representing it with its name, so we can do like that. The same for the user. Let's go ahead and have that magic method, def underscore underscore self. Then we'll do user self dot username. Okay, yeah, so that is how you build your classes for the fields, for the tables, that is. Okay, so this DB model will convert this to be a table in the SQL database. So the next step is to create these tables. Let's see how we can do that with Flask. Let me go back. Quick start. I think I saw something here. Let's switch to Flask-SQLAlchemy. Quick start. Yeah, I think it's here. Okay, we already have this. Initialize the app with the extension. What we need to do is create the tables. There was something I saw. Yeah, this one. Okay, so we can have this whenever we start the script. We can create our tables with this command here. Okay, so let's do that. I'll copy this. Then here we'll have it here, and then we need to properly indent this. db.create underscore all. Yeah, that should work. Okay, so whenever we start this Python script, it will go ahead and create these tables, the user and the product. Also, we can use the Python shell to create the tables. So let me show you what you need to do for that. Okay, so we can say from app import the DB, import the app, import the product. Okay, this is what we are going to create. So from we have an error somewhere, db.column. Okay, we had a double N there. Let's fix that. Let's import again. Okay, so we can go ahead and create the tables, but before that we need to enter the application context. So this is how we do it. It's the app underscore context dot push. So this is how we enter the application context. Then we can create a fake product. Let's have it as P1 product, and we'll give it a name, Python mag price. We'll set it to be, it's a floating point, so we do 15.99. Then set the description. Okay, so that is for P1. Let's create a product 2. Name equals to, let's say, hoodie. Price set it should be 45.00. Description, best hoodie ever. Okay, so after you're done with that, we need to add this to the session. This is like adding to the staging area. We are preparing for saving. The add p1 db.session add p2, then we say db.session commit. Those we have inside the staging area. Good. Now we are having an error. No such table product. Insert into product. No such table product. No such table product. Maybe we need to do this again. db.create_all. We create the tables, then add this to the staging area again. Then we do db.session commit. Okay, so we are having a small error. Let me see what the error is. Okay. No such table product. No such table product. Are we inserting into the... Let me check the spelling here. Okay, let's try this again. Can we clear? Let me exit. Clear. Python from app import app db product. Let's go ahead and enter the application context. Let's create all these tables. Create _all. Then create the product. Okay, add this to the session. Then db.session commit. Oh yeah, now it works. So that is how you create your tables inside the shell, the Python shell. So yeah, let's start our Python server, Python 3 app.py. So that is how you model your your tables with Flask using this package. Okay, so that is it for this one. See you in the next one. In this course, we'll be working with forms, and this is what I want to show you in this video, how we can create the classes or the blueprint for our forms. That is the registration form, the login form, and also the add product form. Okay, so let's do that. So we'll create a forms.py file here, forms.py, and from Flask _WTF we'll import Flask form. Okay, that is the first thing we did, and then we'll also bring in this field from WT forms, import string field. We'll need the float field, we need the text area field, we need submit field. Okay, and also we will also need Flask _WTF dot file. We'll import the file field, file allowed, file required. Okay, from WT forms validators we'll import data required. We'll also import from WT forms, we'll import the password field, and also I think we only need the password field. Then from WT forms validators we'll import equal to and the length. Okay, so now let's start working on the blueprint. So we'll do add product form plus form, construct the name field. So this will be a string field. This will be the text for that given input, product name, and validators will set them to data required. Okay, make sure you open, then you set the price. It will also be a string field, then you pass the price there, then you pass the validators, data required. Oops, something. Description. Next area field. Data required. We'll also need an image field, so this will be a file field. Duct image, passing some validators, file required, and the files allowed. This will be a list of all the files we need. We need a PNG, a JPEG image. Otherwise, if you're not creating any of these, display this error, say images only. And then with that, now we can go ahead and build the submit field like that. Product class. We will also need the registration form. Registration form, as always, Flask form there. Username, this will be a string field. Pass name, validators will be equal to data required, length, the minimum, min is equals to 2, max is equals to 20. Password, it's a password field, and password, save validators, and data required, like so. Confirm underscore password, password field, okay, validators, data required, and should be equal to the password field, like that. And submit field, and then you pass sign up, like that. Okay, so that is all we need. Let's work on the login form. This is the last one. Flask form, username will be set to string field, then username there, validators, data required, password, the password field, validators, data required, submit will be equal to submit field as login there, like so. So that is the forms.py. This is all we need to build our forms. So that is it for this one, guys. See you in the next one. Okay, so now that we have our forms in place and we have added some products into our database, I think it's about time now we showcase the product to the user. So this is what we are going to do. So I'm going to remove this. We don't need this anymore. We don't need the name. We don't need the age. And just remove this. The only thing we need to do is render the template with the products. So we need a way to query from the database. So for this one, we just do products, and we say product, that is the table, then we say query all, query dot all. Okay, that will query all the products, and then we are going to pass them here as a variable to products. Products will be equal to products. Okay, so now here we can go ahead and loop through, so we don't even need this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is therefore product in products we end the for, and for, like that. So here what I'm going to do, actually, we'll create an outside div which will act as the parent, then this one will be inside. Okay, so this one you can give it a class of flex-wrap for now. Then here I'll have a div. We'll have a div for the image, and I'll have another div where I'll show like the UL, li, yeah, for the name. We'll be accessing it from product dot name. Also have another li, then I'll have the description. Just say product. Shown like that, and then this div will be responsible for holding the image, but for now we don't have images. We'll do it later. I'll just have it to blank. So let me see if I can get this name and description. So let me start my server. Python 3 app.py. Come in here, remove this. We don't have this anymore. Okay, so we see the two products in place. Let's go ahead and add a bit of styling to this. I think that will be a good idea. We can have some styling. So I'll give this a class. I'll give it a width of 200 pixels. Okay, let me reload, see just how it looks. We can give it a margin on top, empty-4. We can, yeah, we can give it a padding on the inside. 4. That is how it looks like. We can give it a background color of gray. Any color you choose, it's up to you. We can also give it a margin all around of 4. You can also give it like rounded. I don't love the color. I'll just remove the color. I'll just give it a border, and I'll say border dash black. Yeah, like that, something like that for now. Okay, so we see we are looping through our database, whatever the database is giving us, which is the product, and then we are populating the products in our HTML using Ginger syntax. Okay, so that is it for this one. In the next one, I'll show you how we can add more products to the database. So see you in the next one. Bye. Okay, so let's continue with the adding product functionality. So for this one, I'll switch to app.py, and I'll build that route which will be responsible for adding to the database. So we need a route decorator, app.route. Let me expand this so that you guys can see. And let me close this. And then I'll zoom in. Okay, at app.route, we'll say slash add dash product, and then we'll pass in methods that we need for this function to work. This is a request method we need the get request method. This will be the role of this get is to load the page, and then we'll also need the post. This will be used for adding to the database the product which we have specified in the form. So let's do def and add underscore products. Okay, then we'll get form, which will be add product form. So we need to import this. Let's import it here. We'll say forms import login form, register form, and also the form we need right now is add product form. Come in here, then we'll say if form dot validate on submit, then we are going to get the file as the first thing, f, store it inside form dot image dot data. Okay, then we are also going to secure the file name of that secure underscore file name. Then we are going to do f dot file name. Okay, so we are going to secure the file name of this file. So file name is coming from workzug.utils import secure file name. That is where we are getting secure file name. Then we need to construct the full path, file underscore path. So we are going to do os.path.join app.root underscore path app.config. So this is the location where we'll store our uploads, the upload folder. So upload underscore folder, and then the file name. Okay, so this will construct the full path of that image. So we need to set the upload folder. We have not done this, so let's do it right now. Let's have it in there. Okay. So it says static / uploads. Okay, so this is where we'll be storing all our images, and then the next thing we need to do is create that uploads folder. Come in here and do uploads. Okay, like that. Good. So I think we are done with that. Let's go ahead and see how we can add the product now to the database. So we save this file underscore path. Okay. Oh, we need to bring in OS. Imports OS. So we need to save to the database. Save So to save to the database, we create a variable for this, where we pass in the name. The name is given from form.name.data. We need the price, which is given from form.price.data. We need the description, which is given from form.description.data. Okay, then the image file. Remember, it's just a file name, so we do image underscore file, which will be set to the file name. Okay, yeah, like that. So now we can go ahead and do db.session.add that new underscore product, and always make sure that we commit. We add to the staging area, then the next step is to commit this to the database and then redirect this user back to the home page. So we can do redirect. So we should get this from Flask, and also URL for, we'll be getting them from Flask. So this is the name of the function responsible for the home page, which is home. Good. Okay, so now let's bring in this URL for and redirect. From Flask, import request, redirect URL for. Okay, so that is it for adding to forms. So in the next one, I'll show you now how we can build the add form template. Okay, so let's continue building our form. So let's go back here where we have the add product function, and we forgot something here because we are not showing the add product page, so we must make sure we do that. Okay, so because we'll be requesting for this page, it will not be only the post request, but also we'll be performing a get request for that specific page. So here we'll return render template add dash product dot html, and then we pass the form here, form. Okay, so this should be up here like that. So now we can go ahead and create this add dash product.html file to templates. So I'll come in here, I'll say add dash product dot html like that. So now we can go ahead and start building this add product HTML form. So for this one, we'll have a class, and I'll say max dash width dash md, give it a margin on the x-axis to be auto, give it a bg of white, give it a padding of 8, give it a rounded dash xl, give it a shadow md, give it a border, give it a border with color gray dash 100. Okay, then we'll have a h2 here. Let's also give it a class. We give it a class of text dash 2xl, give it a font of bold, we give it a margin on the bottom to be 6, text dash center, text dash indigo 600. Okay, then the text will be add new product. So let's capitalize this. Yeah, then you'll have a form here. We don't need the action. We pass in the method. For this one it will be a post. Then we'll set the encryption type to be multi-part form data, and we'll say space, give it a space on the y-axis to be 4. Okay, so for the div, can say form dot name. So this will represent the field with a label, and then we'll say class block text dash sm font dash medium text dash gray to be 700. That is for the label. Now with the, we are remaining with the input field, so you can do form dot name. We give it a class of margin top 1, block width dash full, rounded dash md, border dash gray dash 300, shadow 300, shadow dash sm. That is all we need for the label and the input. So now we can go ahead and copy paste this, because they share the same styling, and just reuse that. Can also do the same for description. Description. And we also need the image label. The image also the submit button. So for the submit, we don't need the label, so we can just remove this, remain with this. Let's give it a separate class, form that submits. We give it a class of width set to full, flex, justify dash center, padding on the y-axis to be 2, padding on the x to be 4, border dash transparent, rounded dash md, shadow. I think that is all we need for now. Yeah, so let me see if this is working as expected. Just make sure my server is running. Python 3 app.py. Yeah, we need this secret key. Yeah, so for that one we'll need to do some configuration for that. So we can come in here and say app.config secret key secret underscore secret underscore key set to just a string like that one. But if you want to generate good secret keys, what you can do, you can, let me show you, you can use the Python shell for that. You can do it with Python. So let me show you Python 3. You can say import secrets. Importing all the secrets there. Then we can say, let's store it in a variable called x and say secrets dot token then we do secrets dot token underscore hex, hex, and then 16 characters. So now when we print x, we see we are getting this good secret key here, which you can use it. Copy, then replace with this. That is a very, very good secret key. Exit, and then clear, like that. Okay, so that is how we generate secret keys, but it's not a good idea if you store your secret key here. What we normally do, we create a .env file and then we have all our secrets there. So when we push to GitHub, will not be pushing that key to GitHub to be visible to everyone. We keep it secured. Yeah, so it's a good practice. You have this inside a separate file. Okay, so yeah. So the next thing I want to show you, we want to enforce security into this form. So you can use something with form. You can say form dot hidden underscore tag. This will secure our form from malicious attacks, okay, from hackers. So you can have it in there. Okay, now let's see how this looks like. That is what you are getting. Okay, yeah. So in the next one, I'll show you how we can create a base.html file and load CSS into this HTML file so that it can look nice. So that is it for this one. See you in the next one. Happy coding. Instead of building your entire HTML pages, you can consider what the sections that keep repeating themselves, and you can store them inside your base.html file. So each application in the application will have the same basic layout around a different body. Okay, so instead of writing the entire HTML structure in each template, so in this one I'll be showing you how you can create your base HTML file. Okay, yeah, where we can load all our CSS, and maybe if you have JavaScript, you load it inside your base HTML, and then you can extend your base HTML into other templates. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'll create a base.html file here. Okay, let me zoom out a little bit like that. So here I'll have HTML, and then we need the link for our CSS. Remember how we did that? We were using URL for. So we say URL underscore for static, then we pass in the file name, which is going to be output.css like that. Okay, so we are loading in the CSS. So the next thing is to let me create my let's go ahead and give this body a class. We'll just give it a class of bg-gray text-gray-800, and this one we can give it a bg-gray of 50. Then we'll create another. This is something that will keep repeating in each page, so we must have it inside the base HTML. bg-indigo, then we'll give it a color of 600. The text will display white. We'll give it a padding of 4, and then give it a shadow -md. Let's go ahead and create a div space -x -4 flex items -center. Then I'll have an anchor tag here, class. When I hover on this, I want the text-indigo have it as 200. Yeah, and this will be home, and it will take me to that route. So that is all I need for now. Then the next thing, I'll create a main class, a main tag there. Then for this one, I'll just say container. Then I'll give it an margin on the x axis to be auto. Then I'll give it empty -8 and px-4. Okay, so here is where now I want to display my block content and my block. So everything for other pages like this add product.html will be injecting this inside the block content. So we'll be serving the base.html to the browser, but now with the add form functionality, okay, or with the HTML for this add product. So that is what we'll be doing, and for that we need to tell it where it will be injected. So it will be injected here, so we are declaring the blocks for that, and the block okay, good. So far so good. The next thing we'll do, because we'll be flashing messages to the user, we need to do something else. To do that with Flask, it's very easy. We can say, let me end the with, let me have the end block here, and then we'll do with messages. This will be coming from flash messages. We'll say get underscore flashed underscore messages open, then we'll say with underscore categories set to true. Okay, so this will allow us to get flashed messages, and then we'll say if the messages exist, if there is some messages, let's end the with here, if messages, also let's end the if, very important, and if, so we'll say if messages, then we are going to loop through the messages. So for that we use the for loop, for category message in messages. So from messages we are getting the category and the message. For this one we only need the message. Okay, so let's create a div for this. Let's say mb-4 dot p-4 dot rounded dash large, like that. Then we'll have the message from messages, like that. Okay, so let's try this out and see if it works. So we can extend the add products.html with this base.html. So let's go ahead and do that. So here all you need to do is we'll say extends. This extends from base.html, and yeah, now we can wrap this in a block content. So this will be displayed inside the main as I showed you, and block for that one. Good, now let's try this out and see how it works. If we reload the page, yeah, that is what we are getting. Yeah, and we'll finish up on this button. Yeah, let's do that now. Yeah, we can give it a background bg dash blue 100. Yeah, let's try that out. Yeah, we can have that for now. Yeah, so that is the form for adding the product. Now let's try this out. We see if it works. Product 9 55, product 9, and let's choose a file, select, add the product. This should redirect us to another page. That did not work. Let's see if we are having any errors. We did a post request, yes, but we did not navigate the user back when we add. This did not redirect us. What happened? Let me check where the problem is. Return redirect URL for home. Okay, so we need to fix this. If you check this encryption tag, it should be inside the form, not outside the form. So let's have this inside, and now let's try and see if this is going to work. So let me choose a file, and now okay, we need to reload the page, add product. We are getting an error, so this should be an easy one to fix. Here, where am I? Session. Did you mean session? Oh, db.session.commit. Okay, so let's try again. Let's try another product and we see if it is going to work. Let me reload this just to make sure, and I'll choose a product. Okay, so we are getting a product. Yeah, so that is how it should work. So the next one, let me show you how we can display images inside our index.html file. Okay, so let's go to index.html where we had the image. Now because we have uploaded an image, we can show the image here. So let's go ahead and do that. So again, we use URL4, which will locate where we have the file static, and we are going to say file name is inside uploads slash, then we are going to concatenate with the product dot image dot file. We are going to concatenate with this file name. Remember, this was the file name. Okay, so let's try and see if we are going to load the image. Oh, okay, has no attribute image. Okay, it should be image underscore file, not image dot file. Let's reload the page. Yeah, we are getting the shoes there. Okay, how about we extend also this page to contain our base.html. So let's do that for this one. So we can remove this. We'll remove this. Okay, then we can extend our base.html. We'll just repeat the same thing like we did for the add form, and then we must make sure we wrap this inside the blocks. So we'll do end block there. Let's reload the page. We get something like that, which is awesome. So we can go ahead and continue to the next one. So that is it, guys. See you in the next one. Bye. So far so good with this one. I think it's about time now we take a look at how we can log in user and register users. So for this one, we need to have this package called Flask login. This will allow us to log in users. Okay, so yeah, so in the when I was introducing you to this course, we installed all these packages, so you don't have to install the package again. Okay, so for this one, let's switch to app.py, where we'll import from Flask login everything we need. So we'll import the login manager, login underscore user. Okay, we also need logout user. We also need I think that is all we need for now, and also the current user. So this will be giving us the current user in the session. Okay, then we have to do some configuration. Okay, very important. So we can say let me have a comment here, login config durations, and here we'll do login underscore manager will be equal to login manager, and then we pass the app. Okay. Then we want to say login underscore manager dot login view. Login view will be login. Okay, this will be the view for the login page. So yeah, so this will also help us when we want to send users to we want to send users who have not logged in. Okay, so this will be sending them to this page. Okay, so now let's start building the login routes. So here I'll have that route, so I'll say app.route / login, and then we'll pass in the methods, the get method and the post method. Okay, then we'll create that function def login, then we'll say if current user dot is authenticated, if you have a current user in the session, then what I want to do, I want to just redirect them back to the home page. So make sure you have redirect imported from Flask, also URL for URL_for, and we'll pass in the name of that function responsible, login. And the next thing we are going to do is get the data from the form, login form, press check when the user press on submit, if formed or validate on submit. We want to query that user, check if, okay, let's do user dot query dot filter by. I'm going to filter this user by its username dot data. So we are going to check if this user exists by doing if user and check password, check underscore password underscore hash, check password underscore hash. And this is a function which we don't have to write ourselves. I'll show you where it comes from. It comes from Flask login. Check the user password, what was stored in the database, and the password which we are given, form.password.data. Okay, like that. Okay, so let's bring in check password hash. So we'll do from workzook.security, that is where we are getting it, check password hash. So we check the password. If that is correct, then what we want to do is log in the user. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Login underscore user, and it's this user. Okay, so we log in the user. If the user was trying, before the user goes to the login page, if the user was trying to go to another page, not the login page, maybe that page is protected and the user was redirected back to the login page. So the moment the user is logged in, we want to take that user to that page that the user wanted to go to. Okay, so we can do that by doing request.args, then that page, the next page, and we can return redirect to that page if the next page Otherwise, we are going to redirect the user to the home page. Okay, URL_4. If the user does not specify the page which the user wanted to go to, we'll just redirect the user to the home page. Okay, good. Then we can have an else. If this does not match, then what we are going to do in this one, we are just going to flash a message. So if the password is not matching to what we have in the database, we are going to flash the message, and this flash is coming from Flask. So let's add flash there, and then now we can flash a message. So we say login unsuccessful. Say please check username and password. Like that. We are also going to render this template, return render template. It's the login.html page, which we don't have for now. Login.html, and then we'll pass in the form as always. Okay, so this will be the login page will be very similar to the add product.html in terms of structure. So yeah, let me see. We can just copy whatever that is inside add product.html and use it in login.html. So let's do that. I'll copy add products, and then I'll have it inside login.html. The only thing that I'll need to change is the fields. So you say username, password, so we don't need like the description, we don't need the image label. That is all we need. Okay, yeah, and then here we'll say welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, like that. Welcome back. So let's go ahead and fix some errors here. I don't know why this is even happening. I don't know if it's a VS Code problem or, but anyway, let's continue and see if we'll be able to view the login page. We're getting some errors flash from cannot. Oh, where did we import this? It should be here. Flash. Let's clear, run the program. User loader or request loader. Okay, so we need this user loader, which will be used together with Flask login to load the current user. So let's work on that. For this one here, we must have this user loader. So let's have it here. Login underscore manager dot user loader, and then we say def load underscore user underscore ID, then we'll return user dot query dot get the user with like that. Okay, this is what we need for it to work. Yeah, so let's see if we're still getting the error. So far so good. Let's switch to the login view. Okay, we see the given fields which we specified. For now we cannot log in users because we have not registered. So let's go ahead and register the user. Query object has no attribute password. Let's check the problem with this one. User.password. Okay, so if it's not password, what is it? Oh, we don't have any user, so it's checking it, and it sees no password in users because when we don't have any user. So we'll try this out later when we have the registration route. So for now, everything is working as expected. So see you in the next one. Okay, so let's continue and work on the registration. So we'll go ahead and create that route, adapt.route / register, and then we are going to pass in the methods. Methods will be equal to get and post def register. Here we are going to say if current user dot is underscore authenticated, then we don't need to register this user. We can just redirect the user to the home page, URL underscore home. Otherwise, we are going to register this user, so we can say form. Form is equals to registration form, like that. And this, you must make sure you import it from forms. Then we check the submission, so we can do if form dot validate on submit. Then we want to generate a hashed password. So it's a generate underscore password. So this is coming from Workzug security password underscore hash. Then we are hashing form dot password dot data. So let's bring this in. So generate password hash there, generate the hashed password. Then you can say user will be set to user, then you'll say username. Let's go inside here. Username will be set to form dot data dot username. Password will be set to form dot password dot data. Then that is all we need for now. Then we can do db.session.add this user, and then we are going to do db.session.commit that user. Then we are also going to flash a message. We are going to say account created, you can now log in. Yeah, you can now log in. And so far so good. We can return and go to that login route, URL underscore form. Then we pass in the view. It's the login view. We don't forget to render the template. So outside the if, that is when we can render the template. Register.html, and then we are going to pass the form, as always, form. Okay, good. Okay, the password should be the hashed passwords. There we go. Now let's try this out, but before that we must add that register page. This will be very similar to, let me copy this add product form, and I'll come in here, register, paste it in there, and we need the username, we need the password, we need the confirmation password, confirm underscore password, form dot confirm underscore password, like that. This is all we need, so we don't need like this div. We can just remove that, and let's test this out. Okay, register here, register here. Now let's start our script. Let's check. Our query object has no user of pass. Okay, it's okay. Register forms.registration form has no pass attributes, so there's something wrong here. I did something. Let me confirm again. So the error is inside register form. Oh yeah. Okay, let's reload the page. We see. Good. Okay, now I want to add something down here, where we have options to go to the login page. Okay, so let's add it here. Can have it down here. Can give it a class mt-4, just to have some space at the top. Text-sm text-gray-600. Then here I'll say already have an account, then we'll have an anchor tag there, and you can build this URL underscore 4, pass in the view, login view. Okay, yeah, and we can give it a class text-indigo 500. That happens when we hover, and we'll give it a normal color of text-indigo-600, and also we'll give it font-medium. The text will be just log in. Okay. Also, I'll do the same for my login HTML. I'll come in here and then I'll have it here. I'll say don't have an account. Register. Then change this text to be register. Register here. Okay, now let's see if this is going to work. So reload this page. We see we get this. Very nice, very nice. So that is it for the login view and the registration. Next we can look at how we can display routes for login and registration in our navbar, and also we'll work on the functionalities of the cart, adding items to the cart. Okay, for that we'll add a button here. When you click that button, we add to the cart. So that will be the next thing. Good job so far. See you in the next one. So before we even start working on the add to cart functionality and viewing the cart page, let's test if the login and the registration is working. So I'll start my server and let me switch to the login. We registered a user. Let me try and log in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we keep seeing this error. So let's go ahead and fix this. We see where the issue is. So we'll go to app.py, and here actually there is an error here where we are doing form.data. It should be form.username.data to grab that username data from the form, whatever we are getting. So make sure you fix this, and yeah. Okay, good. Now let's go to index.html again. Actually, let's switch to say register. Make sure this is inside this form. Okay, make sure it is inside. Yeah, let's go ahead and try this out. Actually, we'll just go back and do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We see we are still getting this error. Let me try and load all the users, and we test if we are storing the password inside the database. Okay, so for this one we'll clear, but before that, let me first, in this magic method where we have users, let me also print the password. So self.password, and then we'll start the Python shell, and then we'll do from app import db import app, import that user model, like that. That is all we need. Then we should enter the application context by doing app.app_context.push. Okay, that is all we need. Then we are going to load the users, so we can just paste this here. users. Okay, then we are going to say we are going to look through this for user in users. We are going to 1, 2, 3, 4. We are going to print individual users. Okay, so we see we are storing the password. You see here this is the encrypted version of the password for Sarado. So it's working. So let's go ahead and look where we are getting this problem. Okay, so let's go to the login route. Here we are checking if you are authenticated. If you are authenticated, we just redirect back to the home. We don't need to log in the user again. Then we grab the login form. We pass it to the form here. Then we check if we are submitting the data. If we have submitted the data, we are storing whatever that we are getting from this query. And form.username. Then here we do .first. Make sure you have this .first here, and this will give us the first result of this query. So this is something that you need to have. Let's try this out again and see if we'll still get the same error. Maybe that was the problem. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as the password. So when I log in, we still get an error. So after a few minutes of debugging, turns out that we are missing this so-called user mixin in our model. So we should pass this into the user the user class. So let's go ahead and do that and see if that is going to fix the issue for us. So db model, pass the user mixin there, and where we are getting it from here, from Flask login. We import that user mixin. Yeah, and I'm sure this will work now. Let's go ahead and test this out and see if the error will persist or we are going to fix the error. Python .py and reload this page. Okay, let's try to switch to the login route. Oh, looks like we logged in. Let me have a route for logout. This should not be hard. You can just copy logout user. Yep. Let me copy this, and then we'll have it down here. Login required. We need that. So let's see how we import it. Login required. Okay. So we need login required, redirect, and logout. Okay. Login required. Is it coming from Flask login? Login required. Yeah. Good, like that. Okay. Yep. Then we are redirecting back to the home page, so we can have a URL for here, and then we can specify which the view, like so. Let's start our server, and let's hope this works. So I'm going to do /logout. That should log me out. Let me go to now /login page. Yeah, it takes me there. Then we can try Joseph Smith. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we see that is working as expected, which is good. So now we can continue and start working on the cart page. So for this one, we'll just go to where we are displaying all our products here, and this is where now I'll add that button. So we can create a div for it. Do we need the div? No. Let me have just a href, and we can do URL underscore 4, and this will take me to URL underscore add underscore 2 underscore cart. Oops. If I can type 2 underscore cart, then we are going to pass some variables here, including the product underscore ID, which will be set to the product dot ID. Okay, so this product will be coming with its own ID, so we pass it here. Okay, yes, so like I say, add to cart. Then we'll also have a class for this one. Let's give it a BG, the same color we gave for, actually we'll use the same class. You don't need to think hard about that. You can just have the class here. There. Okay. Good. So let's try this out and see. Could not find this out to cart product ID. Did you mean that product? No. Okay. Now looks like we need to have this route. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll switch to app.py and we'll add that route. Add underscore 2 underscore cart, that is the name of the function. So we'll create a route, app.route, and we'll say slash add dash 2 dash cart, and we are going to receive something here, which will be the product ID, product underscore ID. As we did earlier, we should pass that product ID to the function, okay, as a parameter. So product underscore ID, like so. Then the next thing is to initialize the cart if it doesn't exist. So that is the first thing that we should do in this function. So we'll say if cart is not in session, okay, then this is what we are going to do. We are going to create session cart. Inside session we'll do cart, then we'll create an empty list, okay, inside session. So we need to make session modifiable. So for this one we'll say cart is equals to session. So we are grabbing the cart, storing inside the cart, storing it inside the cart, and then we need to import session. So let's import session. So session is coming from Flask. There we go. Then you can say cart dot append the product ID, product underscore ID. Okay, remember session, this is a list, this is a list, so we can append to it, and we're going to to session dot session cut will be set to the cut. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that is all we need. So also what I'll do, I'll flash a message saying items item added to cart. Item added to cart, like that. And then the moment I add to cart, I'll return URL underscore for will redirect URL underscore for and will redirect to that page, forcing a reload. Okay, so that we can view the cart items. Yep, that is all we need. Let's double check this to see if we are doing the right thing. We are passing the product ID, get found in product, and then yeah, so that is how it should work. Now let's see if we can really add items to the cart, but there is no way that we can view the cart for now. Let's stop here. Then in the next one we'll build the cart page and also display the number of items inside the cart. Okay, so that is it for this one. See you in the next one. Okay, so far so good. Let's go ahead and build the route which will be responsible for the cart page. Okay, displaying the cart page. So we can go below this function responsible for adding to cart, and we can introduce now that function that will be used to render the cart page. So we can create the route for this, and then it will be slash cart. Then you can say def view underscore cart, like that. Then we'll say if cart is not in session, then that means we don't have any items in the cart, or not session cart, or this the cart does not exist. Oops. Then you're going to flash a message, and the message will be your cart is empty. That's all we need. Otherwise, we are having a cart with items inside, so we know we were storing IDs, so we'll use this ID to get the items from the session. So we get this from session cart. Then the next thing is we'll create a product array. Okay, this will contain our products, and also we'll also build the total price of the products existing in the cart. For now it will be 0. So the next thing is to look through the products. So we can do for p underscore id in cart IDs. Then I want to take each product given by its own ID from product. Then we are going to do query dot get, where the ID is equals to PID. Then as soon as we get that, what we are going to do is here we can have an if where we check on the product, and we'll say products dot append that given product. And also for the total price, we want to take the amount of that product and add it to the price. Okay, so we'll say product dot price. Okay, so the next thing now is to render the template. So we can do return render template, and then here we pass cat.html, and the data will be products, which will be set to equal to products. Okay, and also we need to set the total price, so we can say total will be equal to the total price. Okay, so now let's go ahead and create this cat.html page. So for this one, we'll come in here inside templates, cat.html. So this will be very, very similar. I'm not going to like have it look fancy. The functionality is what matters, and the goal is for you to learn. So yeah, so I'll just copy these. Oops, I should copy that, then have it in here. Then we'll have, yeah, we should look through. Good. And now for this one, it will not be like we don't need to add to cart anymore. So this one, we can have it to be responsible for clearing the cart. Yeah, clear cart. Okay, clear cart, and then the URL for this one will be, let's remove all this, don't need all this. The URL will be clear cart, which you have not yet built, but later. Okay, so let's preview this and we see how it looks like. Clear this terminal. Python app to apply. Okay. Slash cut. Oh, we don't have any items to cut. Maybe let me add this one. Items added to cart. Now let's check the cart page. We should have this. How about I create it? Let me just create it. There's no problem with that. Add app.route, clear dash cut, and then we'll do def, create this function, clear cut. Then I want to, from the session, I want to pop the cut and have it set to none. Then we'll flash message, cut cleared, like that. Then we'll return redirect URL for view underscore cut. Okay, good. Yeah, so let me try these out. Oh, oh yeah. So when we reload this page, oops, my server stopped. Okay, when you clear the cut, oh, we are getting an error here, key error. Okay, items added to cart. Check the cart. What about when you clear the cart? This happens when we in view. Yes, we can view the cut, but we are not clearing the cut. How about here cut IDs. Okay, so that means this is working and also this. So okay, so here we should if the cut is empty, then we should do something. We should not execute this code below. So that means we should return here, and for this one we return render template and cut.html, and then we'll set the product to empty. It's the product, and also the total to be like 0. Okay, so now that should work for us. Now let's see. Okay, the cut is empty. Okay, let's add also this one with an image. Let's switch to cut. Good. Yeah, so yeah, that's how it should work. When we clear, we should not get any problems. Okay, so now we see that every time we need to like go to the cut, we need to go to the path and have this route in place. In the next one, I want us to build this navbar so that we can contain the links for current users, which current user can see, and also users who have not logged in can see. Okay, so let's do that in the next one. Okay, so let's go ahead and start working on these links. So for this one, we'll just switch to the base.html file. This is where we are going to insert the links if the user is authenticated. So for this one, we'll just have an if here. Let's say if current underscore user dot is underscore authenticated. Okay, then we'll end the if there. Make sure we end the if, and here we are going to have an anchor tag with a class of actually we'll just say over text dash indigo dash 200, and then this will be the href will be url underscore for add underscore product. Have this to be add product. Okay, so that is the first link when the user is authenticated. Then let's build another one. Class over text dash red dash 300. So this will be a route for URL for URL underscore 4. This should log out. Okay, log out. Let's have logout here like this. Then we also need another route, another link. Let's give it a class. When you hover, you should turn text-indigo text-indigo -200. Set this to relative, and then for the href, we're going to do URL underscore 4 view cut underscore cut. That was the name of that function. And then here we'll say cut, and then we'll have a span. We're going to give it also a class bg-indigo -800. Then we are going to also give it a color, text-white, text-XS, extra small. We're going to do font-bold. We're going to give it a padding on the x-axis to be 2, padding on the y-axis to be 1, and then we're going to rounded dash full like that, and then we are going to give it a margin left of 1. Okay, then we are going to say session access the cut. Then we are going to say the length. I'll have a pipe there. Length if cut in session. If cut in session, cut in session, otherwise just set it to 0. Okay, so this should display the number of items present inside the cut. So yeah, so that is all we need. Then the next thing, I want to also showcase the username. So actually it not be a link this time, we'll just use a span here, and I'll give it a class of bg-indigo-700, padding on the x-axis to be 3, py-1 rounded text dash small sm. Then here we'll say hi, then we'll say current user dot username. Okay, yeah, this is just how we can greet the user. Okay, so far so good with this one. Otherwise or else we'll display the login and the registration button. So let's start with the login. So let's do URL underscore 4. This will be the login view. Login, and yeah, let's have login. Then we'll give it a class. Also give it a class bg-white text-indigo -600. px-4 py-2 rounded dash lg font dash semi-bold. Let's add also hover. Whenever we hover on that link, we should get bg-gray, bg-gray 100. Okay, yeah, so that is for the login. Let's also do the same for the registration, for the register. We can do register here. We don't need this. We can just have, we don't need like the background, don't even need this, and just remain with that. Have this when we hover, and I'll change this to be 200. Yeah, you can also add a bit of transition if you want here. Okay, so let's try and see if this is working. Good, so far so good with this one, but this one is very close to the cut. Maybe we can give it a margin on the left, so where we are greeting the user, hi here, so we should give it a margin L ml-3. So let's try this out. We see if it's working. Yes, so that is what we should have. And let's try these links. Good. Logout page. Let's log out. Good. Let me log in again. 1 2 3 4 5 6. What about the cart page? Good. So that is how we should work. So that is it for this one, guys. See you in the next one. I think we are done with most of the things for this one. So, but we are missing a few things, especially when you take a look at the cart page at cart.html. So let's add a display for the amount. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So we'll do it below this clear cut button. So let me have a div, or I can just have a p tag. I'm trying to make this as simple as much as possible. So you can have a class here. Just give it a text dash to Excel, and we can say font dash bold MB dash 2, and then we can display the total here. We can use so here is where we pass like the total for the given product. Then we can add $sign here. Then after we display that, we can add a button. Okay, this button will, for now we are not going to handle like the payments, checking out, but for this one I'll just have this checkout button. Checkout now. Now let's build the class for this one. So bg-indigo 600 text-white p-4 rounded dash large. We can give it like a text dash lg font dash semi-bold. Also we can add a hover on this one, bg-indigo dash 700 shadow dash LG. Okay, so let's see how it looks. Go to the cart. Yep, this is what we have. Let me see how we can have this side by side. I can have a div here, and you can have a div with class flex, and then I'll contain the button and the paragraph there. Then you can say flex, then you can give it items dash center, then you can say space on the x-axis between, have it to be 4. Justify dash center, let's add justify dash center. Okay, width dash 4, that work. Okay, we can also give it a margin on the top to be 4. Good. I think that looks fine for now. Let's add items to the cart. Okay, I know it's not like the best design, but as I've said, the goal is for you to learn how to build applications with Flask. So congratulations, you are done building this awesome project with Flask. So I would like to encourage you to keep on practicing, keep on building, and you'll get there. So that is it for this one, guys. See you in the next one. Happy coding. Bye.